St. John of the Cross, one of those great saints of the Christian church, with a profound understanding of the mystical life, the way in which we're drawn into union with God, he describes a moment when things fundamentally change for the Christian. And it's when they realize that they are someone who is loved by God. And at that point, he writes, it seems to her that he is now always gazing on her. He is always gazing on her. If you gaze on someone, you use your eyes, you look, and you don't just pierce as you would looking at an object, but there's a sense of desire, of belonging, of being loved. And this neatly opens up the experience of what it means to pray before the icon or to pray in the presence of the icon. It's not so much that we are looking at God, these are not windows that we look through into heaven, but rather it's the channel by which God looks at us with the depth of his love, that heaven is thrown open and God gazes on us. And that's a reality that's with us all the time. And most of the time we're totally unaware of it. But the icon is one of the means by which God taps us on the shoulder, makes us aware of that presence, much in the same way that he sort of sat on a park bench and minding your own business. And then you suddenly feel that somebody is looking at you. And then you see a person maybe a little way away who's looking at you. It can make us feel uncomfortable. But if it's somebody who really loves us and we suddenly realize that our lover is just watching us with that immense love, this is what the icon does. It becomes that place, that focus that actually breaks open this experience whereby we know that we are loved. Now, I picked that up in this book by Ian Matthew called The Impact of God, which is Soundings from St. John of the Cross. So I do recommend it. But ultimately, it's not a book about icons, but I think it's very important that when we're talking about icons, we don't trap it in some little esoteric world. The icon is very much at the very core of the whole Christian experience, the whole gospel experience. And to understand it means to enable those roots to be understood and revealed. And in this way, I'd say the icon is not something to be looked at as in an art gallery. It's not an object that we examine and sort of forensically take apart. Rather, it's something which goes beyond itself to make present the things of heaven. And if you just get focused on the material object, its exterior form, without going beyond and encountering who it is that is present, then you've missed the whole point. St. John of the Cross writes elsewhere that for God to gaze is to love and to work favours. And then he says God's gaze works 4 blessings in the soul. It cleanses the person, makes her beautiful, enriches and enlightens. This is the centrality of the spirituality of the icon. It's being looked at by grace, being touched by grace through God looking and gazing on. St. John of the Cross, one of the great mystics of the Christian church, describes the way in which the gaze of God upon the soul infuses us, those loved by God, with the graces of. St. John of the Cross said a very interesting thing. For God to gaze is to love and to work favours. To gaze is to love. If you think of the way in which a mother gazes on the face of her newborn, think of the way in which 2 lovers having a meal together don't so much talk but just look into each other's eyes. The face, and especially the eye, are a means of communion. The way we enter into